guys, welcome to Peace Vans. I'm Adam, and I'm
Joanna.
And we're going to show you the orientation for our camper 2.1. Sweet, so let's get started.
All right, come on this way. The first thing that we're going to do is open our pop top. That's just usually the first thing you'll want to do when you get to the campsite. So come on in and I'll show you how to do it. So these three devices here are kind of push and pull mechanisms. So my hands are small enough that I pinch to open it, but if you have a little bit larger hands, you can push down on the larger circle and pull on the smaller one, and that will do the same thing. And then you're just going to want to put that behind you and come over to the safety straps here. You're going to press on the black part and open that up. Same thing on the other side, so just press into the black part of the safety strap and open that up. And then you're going to lift up this paddle to make a 90-degree angle and lefty-loosey. Push the paddle down so it's flat, and then magnetize that to the ceiling. Same thing on the other side. So we're gonna lift the paddle up, lefty-loosey, push the paddle down, and magnetize that to the ceiling. From there, you're just gonna push up on the pop top ceiling only. You never wanna do the bed and the pop top at the same time. And it will go up on its own after a certain point, so just kind of push up and it'll do its thing. So from there, you're going to want to roll up this strap hiding flap. So you want to grab it just right in the middle and make it pretty tight. And then grab the strap and push it in to snap it on. And then you can either leave this down if you're gonna go straight to bed, or if you're going to hang out in the van like we are, you're going to push that up. And voila, we're ready to hang out. To put the pop top down when you're ready to hit the road again, you'll wanna do everything super evenly. Everything in the van, you just wanna make sure that you're doing things balanced, but it's especially really important with the pop top because you can bend a hinge or something if you don't do it evenly. So with that, you're gonna grab the strap of the bed and you're just gonna pull down evenly towards you. Once it gets to about this height, the hydraulics are keeping it up right now, but it's going to be on its own in a second. So you'll wanna grab it and just set it down gently. From there, you're going to undo this little flap that hides our straps in the end and just leave it hanging down. And then if you wanna come over here, you'll pull this mattress forward just a little bit to give the material in the back a bit more room. Then you're going to reach up, grab these two straps, and again, we're going to want to do this super evenly so that we don't bend anything. So you're going to grab onto the straps and pull down towards you. Once you get to about this height, the pop top will more or less hold itself. One thing I forgot to mention is while you're doing this, you do want a door open to let out all the compressed air that will be in the pop top when you're putting it down. On a hotter day, that's especially going to be necessary because there's a lot of compressed air that will end up there. So always want a door open while you're putting the pop top down. Okay, so back to this step, you're going to pull the material in on both sides. So just one quick pull in on each side. Once you've done that, you're creating a large hourglass shape over the mattress, if that makes sense. So the material should look like this. From here, I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna keep an arm up while I'm doing this, and I'm just gonna pull the material in on all sides. So all of the material right now is inside the van. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and sit down. This is a great spot to have a cooler so that you can actually sit on it while you're doing that, but for today, we're just gonna kneel. From here, you're going to want to get your material away from your latch. So what I do is I just kind of roll it in, lift, and tuck. And we're gonna do that the same on the other side. Roll it in, lift, and tuck. So you can see that we're only getting it out of the way of the latches. We're not really worrying about anything else besides that. Next, you're going to take the magnetized latch and connect it to the bar. If you need to, you can grab onto the handle and just pull down. Then lift up the paddle so it's a 90-degree angle righty-tighty, and push up. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So take the latch down from the ceiling, connect it to the bar, lift up the paddle, righty-tighty, and push up. Then you're going to take your safety strap. I like to put my fingers on top of the metal like this, and then meet the bottom to the top like so. Same thing on the other side. And last, we'll get all of these straps out of our way. I sometimes just like to put them up into the material so that they're not hitting me while I grab this guy. And bring it back. Again, these are push and pull mechanisms. How I like to attach them is put my fingers actually not on the metal at all, but around it on the outsides. Look to make sure that the hole is meeting the peg here, and I just kind of let it grab it. See that? And again, over here, and last. And voila, your pop top is down.
So a quick little recap about putting up and taking down the pop top. So number one, you really want to make sure that you have the sliding door open for both procedures to get a little airflow through here. The next thing is you really want to make sure you're putting up the pop top by itself and leaving the bed down. And you really want to push that up very evenly, even pressure on both sides. You don't want one side going up quicker than the other. When taking it down, make sure you pull the mattress forward a little bit to create a little space in the back. Verify as you start pulling it down that the tent is indeed being into the center of the vehicle. And then as you pull it down, just make sure you're really pulling it down and controlling it evenly as possible. And then tighten it up and you're good to go.
And one last thing, make sure that you zip up all of your windows before you put the pop top down.
All right, guys, now I'm going to show you the swivel seats. So what I want to do first is I want to create a little room between both the cup holder here and the B pillar of the van here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide the seat forward a little bit because I want to make sure both edges clear those barriers. The next thing I'm going to do is there's a little red handle on the inside of the seat here. I'm going to pull that towards the back and start the swiveling. I can let go of the handle at that point and swivel the seat around. If it does get stuck on anything, I may have to adjust the tilt of the back a little bit, and then I'm going to swivel it around so it's facing the back. At this point, you can adjust it, and it doesn't lock in at this point. It will only lock in when it gets back to the forward-facing position, like so. So swivel, and you can adjust. The driver's seat's going to work the same way, but there's a few other things that are kind of in the way here. So I'm going to slide it forward again, and I'm going to start the swivel with the red handle, let that go, and I'm going to run into the steering wheel at some point here. So I have to come forward all the way and then around, and then you can sit right here with the swivel. And I really like this seat a lot because you can hang out here with your coffee, play some cards. I really like this spot. Right behind the driver's seat, there's a couple of safety features here. So you have, number one, there's a fire extinguisher right here. Right behind that is a carbon monoxide detector. Kind of hard to see down there, and that runs off of a battery, so you're going to want to get on a kind of a scheduled changing of that, like change it once a year. And then in the back of the van, in the rear sliding cabinet, there is a smoke detector as well that you can see back there. So those are a few safety features for the van. Next, I'm going to talk about the auxiliary battery system for the van. So the van is equipped with a secondary battery underneath the driver's seat. And that is there to run all of the camper equipment for the van. So you'll see that there is what we call a state of charge monitor or battery monitor right here. And you can click the positive, there's a plus and a minus sign here to go through some settings that kind of shows you some different readings from that auxiliary battery. And you can also get onto your phone and Bluetooth into that as well. So I'm going to click on this. The app is called Victron Connect, and it's going to show me some icons here that are different products that are in the van. I'm going to click on this, which is the state of charge monitor, and this is going to just give you a quick little reading of what's going on with that battery system. So you can see that the battery's at 99%. It shows the battery voltage. It shows the current that's currently being taken out of the battery at this point. And one of my favorite features is the time remaining. So this will give you a really great kind of average of what you're using in the van, how long you can use it until that battery gets down to a state where you need to start charging it again. So this will kind of fluctuate no matter, depending on what's being used at any given time. But it's a great, just kind of a way to learn like what you're using in the van, how it affects your battery longevity. So it's just a great little kind of a learning tool basically. One of the other apps in here is the solar charge controller. So if you plug in a solar panel, this app will show you how much solar charging you're getting. And then there's a third one, which is your trickle charger. That'll only show up when the van is plugged into shore power from the back of the van. And that will kind of just tell you what, verify that the van is charging, show you what state of charge or charge stage that battery system is in. There are outlets throughout the van that are running off that secondary battery. So up in the pop top, there's two double USB ports up on each side up here. There's a bank of 4 USB chargers right back here. And then if we go to the back of the van, there's going to be some USB chargers and another 12 volt style socket that runs off of that auxiliary battery. So back here, there's double USBs, and these do actually have little power buttons on there that are touch sensitive. And then back in this cubby right here, there's a 12 volt and two USBs as well. So 2 outlets back here, the ones on the face of the cabinet and the 2 up top all run off that auxiliary battery. Back here is where the shore power plug is, so you can simply plug in any 3-prong extension cord into here, plug it into any outlet, and that will automatically start charging the auxiliary battery. And then over on this side is what we call an SAE port, and that's kind of a standardized solar port, so you can plug in a solar panel there, and it can be a bare solar panel because there is a solar charge controller already wired into the system. And when this is plugged into shore power, there is one outlet inside the van that you can plug your products into. So if you need to bring a hair dryer or a coffee maker or whatever else you want to bring with you, right inside, next to the water tank, there is a household style 120 volt outlet that you can use with any products that you would like to.
Next, we're going to talk about all things water. So first, let's check out where the water comes out into your sink, the faucet. So you're just going to twist this into the van and turn the water on. And voila, just like your normal household sink, pretty great. And I usually just pivot that back when I'm done. And let's go take a look at where that water is now coming out. Quick, come with me. So you can see the little puddle on the floor here, so that's where the water comes out. Depending on your preferences, you might have an external gray water tank that catches that you purchased from us or you made on your own. A lot of times people just put a bucket there, or depending on where you're camping, you can just kind of let it go. Most people aren't using so much water that you need to contain it necessarily. So next, I'll show you how to fill your water. So the first thing that I do is open this cupboard here so that I can see how much water is already in the tank. This is a 6-gallon tank, and as you can see, it's filled about halfway right now. So you can see the darker portion there. So you're going to want to grab your water fill funnel from wherever you keep it. I like to keep mine here with some Velcro, but everybody has their sweet spot. And then you're going to want to make sure that the ball valve on the water fill is closed, like so. Next, you'll grab your hose and attach that funnel to the hose. We really like these kind of hoses that expand with water because it's really easy to put them hanging on the van, but you might have a more sturdy one, and that's okay too. I'll show you some options for where to hang it. You'll want to make sure that your water cap is off here, and then I like to have a rag to put into the water fill port here. If you don't have one, that's okay, but it's just like a best practice to make sure that you don't put too much pressure into the funnel at once so that it doesn't come spraying back out at you. So, oh look, a rag. Thank you so much, sir. So what I like to do is actually shove this in here a little bit and then put the funnel inside. Just kind of gives it some upward momentum. And then I'll take the hose and put it like this as I'm filling. You can also, if you do have a more stiff hose, hang it on the metal piece here. So up to you. I'll go with this route today. And then we're just slowly going to allow water to come through that funnel by opening that ball valve. So I'll show you what happens if you do too much here. Maybe we'll be good today. See, now it's coming out, so I know, oop, I just gotta take it back a little bit. And then at that point, you can kind of just let it go. And you're going to want to stand about here and just watch to see where the water line is. And that is how you fill your water. Once you're done, you're going to go ahead and turn this off and then go ahead and detach this. And that's it.
I am going to show you how the stove works on this side of the van. We have this really cool little table that pulls up from the side of the cabinetry like this. And then I can flip up this little door here and then slide out your 2-burner stove. And you can use this here, use it over at the picnic table. There is storage down here for your propane. There is a container of butane down here, which the inside stove uses as well. I even have a customer that uses a small little 5-pound propane canister that they keep in this little cubby space here. To put this back away, I'll lift this back up. You can actually see that there's some little indents here where the feet of the stove sit, and there's magnets in there. So that helps kind of keep the stove seated. So I'll slide this in, and you'll kind of feel it get into the right spot there. It'll kind of drop in there, like so. Drop this, and then underneath this table down here, there's 2 little, I would call them almost like buttons on the hinges. Click those, and this will drop back down like so. I'm going to go show you the inside stove now. So inside the van, we have a super convenient single burner stove. There's 2 little latches that hold this drawer face closed, and they're positioned kind of lower on the face here. So I like to push in the center of the bottom of the panel and click it open like so. Right over here, there's a little tab that I swing closed, and that'll make sure that the stove doesn't slide into the cabinetry as you're using it, which would probably be a disaster. And then there's a single burner stove here. This has its own self-ignite in it, so I turn it all the way to the on, and then the flame will turn on, and you can adjust the flame like so. And this also comes out of here. You can use it up on top. You can use it out at the picnic table as well. To put this away, there's little spots where the feet fit in. Put the latch back up, and then click that drawer back close right here. Right down here is our refrigerator. This is a 42-liter fridge. It does have a nice little freezer section, and the freezer door actually magnets up to the ceiling there, which is pretty cool. To turn on the fridge, there's a dial right here, so you can just simply turn that on. And the temperature inside the fridge is going to really vary depending on the ambient temperature outside of the van or inside of the van. So certain days it's going to be colder than the others. You may freeze your yogurt one day, so you have to adjust that a little bit. So you really kind of get the idea of how that works and what's going to work best for what you're storing in there. To turn it off, I simply just turn it back to the 0 setting, and there's kind of an actual like a hard click when you get it to that spot, so you know it's off. When I'm done using the fridge, I'll put a towel down in the bottom to catch any moisture that's dripping down. And then if you're not driving the van and you just want the refrigerator to air out, I'll close it enough so that the light turns off and just kind of let it sit there. And that way there's a little airflow in the fridge so it doesn't get mildewy. And then the light's off so it's not draining your battery. So if your van is equipped with the optional camping heater, there's going to be a thermostat on the wall right here. So this thermostat that says Webasto on it, it's pretty simple to use, and it has a quick start function. So if I click on the button on the upper right-hand corner, which is kind of the universal power button, I'll click on it and it'll turn white and it'll immediately turn green. And that basically powers up the heater. If I want to adjust the temperature, right now it's set for 70. If I want to adjust that down or up, I can adjust it. Say I'm going to be, let's make it 75 in here. I can turn it to there, and I need to click the big rubber button to set that temperature. And now the heater is working. So you may see a little bit of a flicker in the lights as the heater powers up because it uses a lot of amps when it first starts. So sometimes the lights may flicker a little bit. That's normal. And then right down here is where the heat will come out. So when you first fire up the heater, it'll blow some cold air out for a little bit. And that's just doing some tests, making sure everything's working great. And then the heater will fire up and it'll start blowing out hot air. The heater is, powered by, it uses some of the battery from the auxiliary battery system, but it also uses fuel from the gas tank. So we install a standpipe into the fuel tank, and it goes down 3/4 of the way. So you theoretically cannot run yourself out of gas while you're using the heater, but you really don't want to run the heater out of gas while you're using it either. So I always recommend having over a half of a tank of gas when you use the heater. It's very efficient. It will only burn about less than a gallon of gas if you let it run for 24 hours straight. But just to be safe, make sure you have plenty of fuel in there. When you turn off the heater, I just click that green button again. Just click it once and it's going to go back to white, and that's in standby mode, and it'll eventually power off. This will continue to blow air out of this vent until it cools itself down to a certain temperature, and then it will shut itself down completely. The heater is super safe. It has an external intake and exhaust, so it doesn't burn any oxygen that's inside the vehicle. It doesn't put off any moisture inside the vehicle, so you can sleep with it on. You don't have to worry about it all. It's a very, very safe heater, and it makes it really nice and toasty and comfortable in here. So enjoy.
All right, I'm going to show you how to do all the things with your rear bench seat. So the first thing I'll show you is how to move your seat forward. There are a few different knobs on here, but you are going to want to use the bigger ones, which are on the furthest out section of the drawer here. So you're going to pull those both out to release basically what I like to think of them as emergency brakes that are putting pressure up on the railing. So when you pull those out, you're releasing that pressure, which gives the seat some more movement. Super important that you make sure to activate those again when you are driving and deactivate them when you're moving the seat forward, because just like with your emergency brakes on your car, they will rub if you leave them activated when you're trying to move the seat. So now that we have pulled these out, we're going to use this big long bar to release the pegs that actually are holding the seat in. So those pegs are about here, so they're not like right at the front of the seat. So just keep that in mind as you're moving it. So we're going to lift up and walk the seat forward. And then I like to line up with the small hole here. That small hole is where those pegs are going to go in. So I line up with that, and then I go about 3 inches past it, let go, and scoot back, and I'll drop into that small hole. And you'll know that you've reached the right spot because you can't move your seat at all. And then when you're ready to go back to your home position, which is the only spot that you can make the bed, you're just going to lift up on that bar again, scoot back, release, and let it drop in. Now, if I were to go into that forward position and want to stay there, I would have put on the emergency brakes. Now that I'm back in my home position and I know that we're going to stay here, I'm going to go ahead and push those levers back in so that it's super secure and not rattling at all. Obviously, the other thing that you can do with your rear bench seat is to turn it into a bed. So just like with the pop top, we want to do this really evenly when we're converting it. So you want to kind of stand in the center here, and you're just going to lift up. That will release the tabs on both sides, but we don't really need to do anything with those. And then you're going to grab the strap that's in the back of the seat here, flip it over, put a leg up so you can reach this lever here, lift up on the lever, grab the seat back and kind of guide it down and push it in, and voila, you have a bed. Now to reverse that, come take a look over here and you'll notice that there's a change in the pattern. So you'll want to put your hands where there is no pattern on the seat here, and that is between the headrests. And we're just going to lift up, push the seat back into place. We'll just want to make sure that, let's fix our seat belt here. You're going to want to make sure that this engages fully, and then grab that strap again, flip it over. And this is the spot where you would want to grab the seat belts if you'd like to use them for your drive. So I'm just going to take those all in my hand, and then I'll use my knees now to push the seat bottom back into place. And that's how you convert your seat from a bed to a seat and back again. And then it also has this lovely drawer in the bottom. So to access the drawer, you're going to want to move your boom out of the way and then grab the smaller levers now and push inwards like a little tricep workout. Voila, marketing materials. And then to put it back in again, you're going just to do the same thing, but reverse. So push in and make sure that they're back in their home position. Close that up. And that is all things seat related. Anything else we'd like to add?
We should show them the table.
Are we going to show them the table?
Let's show them the table.
Okay. Next, we're going to show you the table. The first thing I like to do with the table is to grab the leg out. So let's open that drawer again and grab it out. So the table leg is positioned in your drawer and on a bracket so that it doesn't move around, which is super nice while you're driving, so you don't hear this loud bang while you're moving. So I always get that out first and set it on the seat so it's ready for me. I'm gonna go ahead and close that drawer back up. And the next thing I would do is open up the boom screw so that this leg can go through the hole. So I opened that up, that's good. I like to have the table on my lap when I put the leg on. Some people have the skills to put the leg into the boom first and then mount it, but I like to see what I'm doing. So I always put it on my lap, and then I'm going to just make sure everything's lined up and screw the leg to the mount. So once I have that tight and in the position that I want it, I'll go ahead and flip it around. I like it in this orientation, but you could screw it on however you'd like. I love to work in the vans, so this is usually how I set up the table. So we'll just go ahead and put that leg all the way through so it goes all the way to the floor. Just gives it some more stability. And if we're gonna stay here, we can go ahead and tighten this up. I'm gonna leave it kind of loose because we're gonna move things around. But so picture me with a laptop and coffee, I'm ready to go. Now let's say Adam's coming to play a game with me after work. We're ready, or we're gonna have a little meeting. So you can have it in this orientation for that. And then Sam's gonna come join us. She's not really though. And we'll go ahead and put it out onto the threshold here to serve some drinks or just open up this space some more to have everybody hang out. So yeah, that's all things table. When you're ready to put it up, you're just gonna flip it back to the start and lift it out here. I like to, again, put it on my lap so I can see what I'm doing, and undo the leg, put it behind me. The table will magically disappear again, and I'll go ahead and put that leg back where I got it, in the drawer.
All right, guys, so if your van is equipped with our awning, which is one of our options, one of my favorites, I will show you how to put that out now. So the awning handle itself is stored right behind the front seats, right back here in the little gap between the floor and the seats. And we're gonna take that out. And everybody does this a little bit differently. You'll find your own comfort spot to do it. But if you bring the awning handle over to here and hook it in to the little eyelet here, and then you'll wanna make the awning handle into a little kind of a crank style, and these two little spots spin right here. So at this point, you can start cranking out the awning.
I like to have this door closed so that I can see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna go ahead and close that. And then I'm gonna crank it out about a foot.
And at this point, you really wanna support the weight of the awning so it's not hanging on the brackets. So the awning legs are inside the case here, and they are contained in the edge of the case. So what I like to do is I pull on both sides of that leg towards the van, and I want to unclip it here, and I really want to make sure that this end of the awning leg comes out of this plastic elbow here. So this really needs to come out, and that way it'll drop freely. If you try to pull it down before there, you can break this plastic piece. You can get replacements, but try not to break it. So I'll pull it all the way out, it'll drop down. I will turn the wing nut here and feed the leg down to the ground. So now it's supported.
We're just doing the same thing on the other side.
If you're doing this by yourself, you can crank out the awning a little bit and then walk the legs out, go back to cranking the awning. Or if you have a friend with you, I can hold this up and we'll bring out the awning, and this goes out 6.5 feet.
As I'm cranking this out, I'm usually watching the arms, which are the brackets right under the vinyl there. And I want to just make sure that those are not getting completely straight, so they're staying just a little bent, and that's usually what I use to gauge when I'm going to stop cranking it out.
Yep. So awnings here, at this point you can adjust it a little bit more. It can go much taller. If it is raining out, we really do suggest having one side of the awning much lower than the other so the water doesn't pool in there like so. If it's windy, there are some stakes in the van, but don't depend on those holding it into the ground. I always default, if I don't feel comfortable with it, if I'm not there to monitor it, put the awning away. And especially when I go to bed, I always put the awning back. I just don't want to have something happen in the middle of the night and the wind pick up and damage the awning. So, when in doubt, always put it back.
Yeah. One thing I like to do right before I'm going to put the awning up is just give a nice hit to the top, getting debris off of the top of the vinyl, so that when you're rolling it back up, you're not getting that squished into your material. All right, so now that we're ready to put it back, again, like Adam said, if you're by yourself, you can move one leg at a time. If you have a friend to do it with you though, you can just have that friend lift up, and then we're going to just reverse what we did before. So we're getting back to about that foot away position, and then we'll pause, and
at this point we're going to collapse the legs, and I really like to use the wing nut for that. Some people try to feed it up, but what's really easy is just grab the wing nut, slide it up, and tighten that. Swing the leg up. I want to make sure the foot is facing the outside of the awning case like this, and then I set it on the shelf here and click it in on both sides. So this will pop in and this will pop in.
So with this step, you're going to make sure that your metal is going into the plastic first on the very end, and then you're going to click it in. So it's kind of reverse of what you did before. And now we're just going to put it in the rest of the way. A lot of times people ask, can you tell once it's fully in its case? There's only really one indication besides just seeing with your eyes, and there's a tiny red tab here that once you fully put the awning in will go away. But besides that, you just look and see, yeah, I did it. And that.
And when we're storing the awning crank handle in here, I like to fold it so it basically has one fold at the end here. The hook is facing up. I put that towards the driver's side, and then just drop it back in there behind the seats. And that's the awning.
And that's the awning. The last thing we're going to show you is how to use your privacy curtain. So come on in. So the privacy curtain is really easy to put up. It does mostly use the visors, so as long as you know to do that, it works super great. We're going to snap it onto this first snap here, and then put our visors down. Snap into the next snap next to the first visor. Push that visor all the way up so it's holding it. Go behind the second visor, and I actually don't snap the second snap. I only snap the first snap where I started, basically. So that's like my friend holding it for me, because really, once I snap the last snap here, The visors are what's holding this up. This is just like someone holding on to this for me while I do the rest. So now I can actually unsnap it, and the privacy curtain is fully stable and going to stay there for us. So some of us like to call this the RV park curtain, because you're really probably not going to use it much when you're like camping in the woods. It's great for when you're in a more populated area. It's also great for keeping some sunlight in, but a lot of times people just use the flap for the pop top hanging down to create privacy for them. So it's up to you which one you decide to use more, but this is great when you are in a crowded location. So that's the privacy curtain. All right, everyone, thanks so much for joining us on our Camper 2.1 orientation video. We hope that you love your van if you already have it, and that you're getting excited if you're about to get it.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.